Oh, g'day guys, how you going? Unfortunately, I'm not with you this morning. I'm down in Melbourne at Lifehouse AOG, preaching up a storm. I wish I was with you. It's going to be a great morning this morning. The release of the great CD called Worship from the Collective. It's going to be fantastic. You need to buy one for you, for your friends, for your family, for your enemies. Everybody needs a copy of this. Get a hold of it today. Have a great time in church. Wish I was with you, but I'll catch you next week. See you later.
Hi church, so glad you could come to the album launch today. We're really glad you would be a part of this. It's an amazing event and we're really glad that we could all be a part of the recording of this album. Here it is right here, Worship from the Collective. But we just wanted to chat a bit about the whole process. So we've got a bunch of songs here written by Emily. You wrote Not I and New Day and The Promise. Do you want to just tell the church kind of what the process was for that?
Basically with writing the songs that I wrote, and I co-wrote The Promise with James Benower, and some songs just kind of flow out of you, and these ones we didn't really have time for that, so I've kind of prayed a lot about what type of message we wanted to sing about, I guess, and just thought about the teachings we've had over the last 12 months about others first, and also just really God's grace and forgiveness in our lives, and even with New Day, just really making our lives count as an offering to God. So I guess I just wanted to write songs that were relevant to our church.
That's the theme across the whole album.
Yeah.
Because the idea would be that you don't write an album that sounds like somebody else's church or somebody else's vision. It should reflect what we experience in church every week. And I think, I don't know about you guys, I think we've kind of caught that on this album.
Yeah.
Lord, first of all, I'm sorry. This human form betrays me.
So just quickly, I thought I'd explain the process of recording an album, because obviously everyone in church life won't have the chance to be in the studio, but I'm sure you want to know how we went about doing it. So I guess I just thought I'd explain the basic ins and outs. Pastor Scott approached me one day and said he believed in prayer that it was time that we did an album, and it's something that we talked about for a lot of years. Many people had asked us if we were going to do one, but it wasn't in the timing of God to do at any other stage, and Pastor Scott really believed now was that time, and that was very interesting because God definitely placed key people in key places during the recording process to make it happen. So we definitely believed that was the case. And then we went and recorded it, which was, Emily, give us a quick explanation of how do you record the tracks for an album?
So basically in the first 2 days we got our solid drums and bass down. Then we get to the guitars, which you probably won't know unless we tell you there's actually how many tracks?
Some songs had 8 guitar parts on them.
8 guitar parts on them, so very
layered.
A lot of work there, and finally the vocals get put right at the end.
Holly, can you tell the church about what it takes to mix an album?
So what happens is they get the rough copies of the CD and they listen to every single detail, so they can spend 4 or 5 hours just on one song. It's a tedious process, but it needs to happen. And then so it's all prepped and ready to go to mastering.
And then it was off to the printers with Jeremy Ham doing all the artwork. So we said yes, 3 cheers. I think you'll agree when you see it, it looks very pretty. And Jeremy did all that work for us, which was great. Then we sent it off to the printers, and that is the album process.
King of kings, and Lord of lords, the earth is your footstool, saving world, Redeemer, God, there is no one like.
Lots of churches are doing CDs, and we really had an important reason for doing our album. We didn't just want to make an album for the sake of it and to fill shops with just CDs, because there's plenty out there, and I believe we had something to offer. Juan, why do you reckon it was so important that we did this album?
I think the main thing would be that it was just the right timing for it all. Like really, I don't think we, as a band, week in week out, go, we want to make CDs or we want to record music. It's not really about that at all. Our heart is just to serve the church and lead the church in worship. And I think this CD really is just an extension of that.
You know, it's interesting. You can't obviously have a whole team recording an album. We only used 6 or 7 people max, but yet we've got a team of over 35 people. Yet I really believe the album wouldn't have come about unless, you know, the team had grown and developed over the last 5 to 10 years, and the input of various people throughout that time has kind of got us to the sound that we have and the worship that we have in our church. So I really personally appreciate the fact that we have a team that allows us to do albums, you know, that we can have amazing worship here on Sunday, you know, no matter who's singing and who's leading, and that's a real blessing, I think, for the church.